Hello and welcome back to another episode of Mind Renovation Nation. My name is Nathan Bush. I am your host of today's livecast, and I will be talking all things small multifamily, but specifically today we are going to be talking about how to find clarity in the chaos. And when I talk about chaos, we're going to dive right in, and I got a lot of stuff to cover with you. And so we're just going to get to the meat of everything that I have to talk about today. So let's talk about it. So when we talk about chaos, let's talk a little bit about what I mean when I say the word chaos. I'm talking about that state of utter confusion. Have you ever been there? Not knowing what to do, not knowing where to go next, not knowing where to turn, kind of feeling a little overwhelmed, lost maybe. Um, this is a real thing that can happen in real estate, especially with all the to-dos, need to do's, should do's, have to do's. And so in the midst of chaos, there is opportunity. That's Sun Tzu, an ancient Chinese military strategist. Sun Tzu said, in the midst of chaos, there is opportunity. And I think what Sun Tzu was saying at kind of a deep level was that in the midst of everything going on around us, that is honestly where the opportunity is. And it's how we react and how we interact with that opportunity that determines our outcome. And so that tells you right away that if there's a lot of opportunity all around you, then it's a matter of organizing that opportunity. And I know that there's some common challenges that we all face them in real estate. Whether we're talking about some of the common challenges might be financing complexities. Maybe you're trying to deal with mortgages and the bank and the interest and the current interest rates and the market conditions. That could be one complexity that you're currently dealing with. And believe me, I hear you. I'm there with you. In fact, as I work through my own decisions on the next acquisition that we're doing, I totally understand that there is some complexity in the finance, and that can create a little bit of chaos in your life. How about property management issues? Maybe you're the type of organization right now and you're dealing with property management issues in your business. The tenants calling, things breaking, people not paying their rent. Maybe you've got some chaos going on with tenants that are just being nasty towards you, or you have chaos because you've got all these different things going on and can't handle it. Well, property management issues can be overwhelming and a bit challenging. How about time management issues, just in general? Maybe you're thinking about getting into real estate and you're trying to manage your time so that you can do your full-time work and real estate is your side hustle or your side business. Well, time management issues are extremely complex and they often cause a lot of chaos in our lives. How about limited resources? Maybe you own a small multifamily community and you're just having difficulty right now managing the little bit of resources that you do have coming in. And maybe your property is not doing what you want it to do. And there's different issues going on in your property and you don't know where to start and don't know what to do. If this is you guys, and I know that there's a lot of other things we could talk about, but I feel that this is an important conversation. If this is you, then this conversation today about how to find clarity in chaos is for you. I wanted to do an episode today that could help you kind of unpack what to do when you feel a little overwhelmed and you feel this chaos. Now, William James, American psychologist, he had this to say: the greatest weapon against stress, these different stresses that go on in life, the greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one's thought over another. So the greatest strategy to overcome stress is your ability to choose one thought over another. Now, I'm not going to do a whole I'm not going to do a whole episode on mindset today. We'll pick a different day to talk about mindset. But William James was so accurate when he's talking about the practical techniques that you can use to help you overcome and calm your mind and get yourself under control when you're first dealing with stress. So, as you're feeling those overwhelms and you're dealing with finance complexity issues, I think William James' deep rooted information, the seed of truth that was in his information, is we need to sit and think about these things. We need to actually get out pencil and paper, legal pad, and write out all of the chaos that's going on. It helps us to gain clarity in our thought process, just getting it down, getting it on paper. And so that would be the first tip of the day, is that if you feel that you're in the midst of chaos and you would like to start to get clarity, the first thing that you can do is start to get your thoughts down on paper so you can begin to choose those right thoughts. Now, as you're choosing those right thoughts, here's what you need to do. Here's kind of the tie-in of how this all works together to gain you clarity. You need to align your core values to walk through the chaotic situation. You need to align your core values. So as you got all these things on paper and you're thinking about them and you're trying to make a decision, what's the next thing? What should I work on? What's going to give me the biggest impact? You need to reassess your current core values. And if you don't have those written down, maybe you need to have core values within your organization. If you feel your company is a little chaotic, or you feel your work's a little chaotic, maybe it's because you don't have core values or know the core values of your organization. So it might be wise to sit down with a group of your leaders, group of team members, or yourself, and maybe get those core values jotted out. I don't look at core values as a nice to have in an organization. I look at core values within the company that we work for here at Red Maples. I look at the core values as a must have, as a foundational issue within the organization. I know that there's a proverb that says, "Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes the crooked path will be found out." And so, with that proverb, at Red Maples, we have a core couple set of philosophies that work in junction with that proverb. And the first one in our core values, and I'll just pop up some of the core values here on the screen for you to see. The first core value we have is doing the right thing. Look, we believe in a sense of responsibility to the residents, to the investor, to the community, to the environment. And so at Red Maples, we want to do the right thing in every situation. Let me give you some examples of how doing the right thing ends up providing clarity when you're amongst a bunch of chaos. So let's say you have all these work orders coming in and you're just dealing with property management issues. You have all these work orders coming in and you have, let's say, tenants that maybe have been upset that they waited too long to turn in their work order issue and they want prioritization to make sure that their issue gets taken care of. You got to set aside all these different work orders and prioritize which one is going to get the work done and which one is not. Well, it depends on three things and three things only: cleanliness, safety, and function. Cleanliness, safety, and function. Clean, safe, and functional. That's how we prioritize doing the right thing for a tenant: cleanliness, safety, and functional. So, well, you say, Nathan, why would you put cleanliness as a priority over functionality? Because we care. We care about the property. We care about the tenant. Why would you put cleanliness over safety issues, Nathan, in your organization? Here's why: because we care about the property. And if the resident and the rest of the community is going to care about your property, you got to start with showing them that you care with a clean property. I know it kind of sounds counterintuitive, but that's what we feel and believe is the right thing to do. So in every situation, we're going to go over clean, safe, and functional. Clean, safe, and functional. If you got an apartment community and the hallways are all filled with a bunch of clutter and trash and garbage, the first thing that you do is you remove all the trash. Next thing, talking about doing the right thing. I got another story for you. So let's say that you did have all these work orders coming in and you have a specific situation in which maybe the bid it makes you feel a little nervous about the bid. So you're dealing with your own financial issues, you have things going on, and you've got maybe specifically a issue that needs to be taken care of, and financially it's a little tough in order to overcome that issue. So, for instance, let's say that maybe a window got busted. and there's a part of the sash that's broken. So you can do two things. You can replace the glass, but you still have a busted sash that may cause water damage inside the property. And so maybe the vendor quoted you a price for that window. Maybe the price for that window, and I'm just going to make up some numbers here. Maybe the price to repair that window and sash and put a new window in, maybe is going to be 325. Just making up a round number. Now, it would be maybe advantageous for you to go back to that vendor and say to that vendor, hey, instead of for 325, you think you could get that for, maybe 275 and save yourself a couple bucks? Let me ask you a question. Is that the right thing to do? Not just for the investor's sake, but let me ask you a question. Is that the right thing to do for the vendor's sake? I don't know. That's a question you have to seek deep within yourself. But we know that there's an ancient proverb. It's not really the ancient proverb, but there's a proverb that says, whoever walks with integrity walks securely, but whoever walks a crooked path will be found out. So integrating those values in your organization helps you to be able to sort through that list of stuff that needs to be done, because every single thing that you're going to prioritize on that list, you're going to prioritize through your core values in your organization. So let's talk about this for a second. So you've got these core values now. You can see our core values on the screen there, and I'll make them a little bit bigger so that you've got the ability to get some of those core values down. Maybe these will work. Maybe some of these will work for your organization. Maybe they won't. But how do you utilize those core values? Well, I like to say simplification and prioritization reduces chaos in an organization. So simplification, prioritization reduces chaos in an organization. And so how can you simplify things and prioritize things through your core values? Yeah, that's a great question, because you want to be able to simplify and prioritize that list of things, that grouping of things, those different issues and challenges that are going on. How do you simplify them and how do you prioritize them? Well, to simplify them, I've found this tool through David Allen. Getting Things Done is the title of the CD program that I listened to, and he gave me the 4 Ds um, to simplifying anything. So you have a to-do item, a task item, a sheet of paper item, an inbox item in your email, a text message that comes in, a instant message that comes in. However you receive your inbound information, there's only 4 things that you can do. And those 4 things are so simple, and they simplify the entire process of what to do with something. There's only 4 things that you can do. So if you're taking notes, it's a good time to take notes and a good place to take notes. The first thing that you can do is the thing that comes in right away, you can do it right away. As soon as you touch it, as soon as you lay hands on it, you can do it. The second, you can delay it. So instead of you doing it, you can put it on your calendar and set it aside in a file for a time for you to do later. So you can do it or you can delay it. Now, the third thing that you can do, this is a tool that as you grow your organization becomes extremely helpful, and your ability to lead others makes this successful or not, and that you can delegate it. So you can do it, you can delay it, or you can delegate it. Those are 3. And as you work with teams and you grow your organization, these core values will help them prioritize their work and what's the right thing to do, and to seek the truth in that task or that item. Or however you take your partnership approach in your organization with collaboration and your teamwork. So those are so you can do it, you can delay it, or you can delegate it. The fourth thing, and this simplifies the whole process. Sometimes you just need to discard it and get rid of it. Sometimes things are unnecessary to do, and that's where innovation in our organization comes in. Are you doing tasks over and over again that create chaos in your organization? That if you could just streamline, automate, delegate that work to a technology partner, they could eliminate or lose a lot of work for yourself. So in our organization, we often think of innovation being a major component to providing great property management service for our investors. All right. Now, the next thing that you can do, so I got the screen bouncing back and forth on me here. The next thing that you can do if you're trying to simplify or prioritize thing, is you can remember the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule, or some people have called this the Pareto principle, the Pareto principle. That means that 80% of your productivity is going to be done by 20% of the items on your list. 80% of the organization is going to happen around fixing 20% of the problems. Your job is to prioritize and identify what are those 20% of things that are most important for you to be working on as the investor, for you to be working on as the property manager, for you to be working on as the real estate agent. It's so important if you're trying to work through the complexities of property management issues or financing issues or time management issues or limited resources. You need to determine what are those 20% of things that have the biggest impact. In our organization, we often talk about building community, building community. That's our passion for creating and supporting vibrant communities through real estate investment. The community is the apartment community and the community at whole. And so we know that 20% of that community success is going to come from, or 80% of that community success is going to come from 20% of the effort in those communities. And so another reason why clean, safe, and functional is so important in prioritizing things and having and building your core values to take action around things, clean, safe, and functional. The reason that's so important is because you're a part of the community. You want to demonstrate your commitment to keeping a clean, safe, and functional community. All right. So people have often asked me, Nathan, you know, can you tell me about a time when there was overwhelming chaos, and how did you gain clarity in that specific situation? Because I have done this talk at a number of different organizations before, and so they would ask me, can you give me an example of how this works? So I'll tell you this: when I first started in real estate and property management, I managed a 725 unit apartment community. It's kind of my first start, and I was actually responsible within that community for collecting rent, and they had delinquent balances of about $45,000 in delinquency on 725 units. They had money owed to them that wasn't cleaned up and collected, and the tenants were getting to the point where they were paying their rent as need be, and they didn't have a care in the world about when that rent was going to come in on time, or if they were going to pay that month, or if they were going to pay, maybe try to pay double the next month. And so we had to gain some clarity with ourselves and with the residents in order to fix this entire situation. And so one of the first things that I did was sit down and listed out my priorities in collecting rent. My priorities in collecting rent. I kind of call them my own little core values for collections. Number one, I treat everybody with love. Number two, just because it's tough doesn't mean it's wrong. Number three, when you're collecting rent, you're there to help people, not hurt people. And number four, when you're collecting rent from tenants, it is extremely important that you show them how to do their payments on time, not just tell them to do their payments on time. And so here's what I did. I wrote that little thing down, the love, the care, the compassion, and the specific action steps on how to show those tenants the care and kindness that I had for them. And so that helped me to craft the 7 baby steps to financial success when you're behind on your apartment. And I had this little sheet, and every single time a tenant would come into the office to talk about their balance after I called them numerous times to help remind them of their balances, and I would let them know that I would sign a payment arrangement with them, but they would need to come into the office. I would work them through these 7 baby steps because I wanted to build a better understanding. I wanted to show them specifically how they could get out of their situation, how real estate late fees are so much more significant than the late fees that they're going to pay on a car or on a cell phone bill or even on their utility bills. And so I didn't want those late fees to be the burden or the problem for them, but just because it was tough to hold them accountable to those late fees didn't mean I didn't also hold them accountable to those late fees. By being tough, it actually demonstrated a ability for them to understand that I followed the rules and that we couldn't bend those rules. And so they had consistency. And by having consistency, they knew what actions they needed to take. By me being consistent, it eliminated the chaos in their life. And so I tell you the same thing. You do the same thing. You sit down, you prioritize your values, then you make decisions on how you're going to work others through the challenges around you. All right. I'll tell you another quick story. So, another organization I worked for, when I first started with them, this organization had haphazard leasing practices. It's the best way I could describe it to you. They were haphazard. There was no organization to the leasing aspect whatsoever. And so what we sat down to do as a team is we kind of sat down and decided on some core principles, some core philosophies that would govern all of our decisions in leasing. And one of those decisions, those core philosophies that we decided on was very similar to this core value that you see here on the screen, which is the slumlord versus the real estate investor. This was a core philosophy. So if you think about leasing through this standpoint, how would a slumlord lease property? How would a real estate investor lease property? Would a real estate investor allow the leads if they were leasing their own property? Would a real estate investor allow the leads that came in through the phone to sit 4, 5, 6 days until they felt like getting around to it? Or would a real estate investor take action on the lead immediately when it came in? Would a real estate investor allow that lead to just be in their cell phone, or would they put it into some type of software system so that that lead could be organized and followed up with in a professional manner? Or would a slumlord let that lead sit in their cell phone and not care about the person on the other end who's actually trying to find a home? See, when you have core values, it provides clarity whenever there's chaos in the midst of everything that you're trying to do and accomplish. And so you can clean up a leasing policy in practice just by considering your core values and looking at all of your decisions through that lens. So, what are some actionable steps then that you can take today to start finding clarity and purpose in your own life? Number one, first and foremost, I recommend writing down your core values. Number two, take your legal pad and write out step by step all of the chaotic things that are going on, all the pieces, and put thought to work for you, not against you. One of the things I've learned in my lifetime, it was taught to me by John Maxwell, is growth in anything is intentional. Apathetic's easy. It's like a downhill slope. But if you're going to grow in something, if you're going to grow in your real estate career, it has to be an intentional decision. So you have to sit down with a legal pad and give this some thought. The third thing that you can do is begin to organize your chaos that's down on your legal pad now and get it organized through those two statements that we talked about earlier: the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, and the do it, discard it, delegate it, or delay it philosophy. And I can assure you, when you do those things, it'll start to provide you more clarity in your life and help you to be able to make even better decisions. So, then I guess, how can an individual maintain this sense of clarity and purpose in the long term, even when facing ongoing challenges? How can an individual make sense of this clarity and purpose in the long term, even when facing ongoing challenges? Here's what I believe. Here's what I believe. When you have core philosophies, when you have core principles, something that you live by, something that you can stand on, when you know what's right, when you know it's true to your organization, that helps you to make all decisions going forward. Learn to run all of your decisions through your core values, step by step, and ensure that everything that you have going on is aligned with who you are. Because here's the truth: your organization will never grow bigger on the outside than who your organization is on the inside. You'll never outgrow your capacity for yourself to grow. So if you want to get bigger, if you want to have more properties under management, if you want to have more tenants, if you want to have more security in your life, if you want to eliminate the chaos, work harder on the inside of who you are, whether that's personal or corporate, than you are on the outside, and communicate that to everybody you know. As you can see here, lastly, we're rule followers. And so some rules that we put in place for our organization are pretty simple. Follow the core values, follow the management agreement, follow the lease. These things it becomes real simple and real easy and real clear to know what the next right action is in your life when you can get clarity on who you are and what you're trying to accomplish. So if I was to give you some advice, if you feel overwhelmed by the chaos going around you and you feel like you're struggling to find clarity, you have two options. You have two options. Number one, take all the actions that I just talked to you about. Or number two, pick up the phone and give us a call. Go on Facebook, direct message me, send me an email, and we'd be happy at Red Maples to begin to work with you from our core values and let our core values help to permeate all of the decisions within your organization. Again, we're rule followers. We have a mentality in our organization, the slumlord versus the real estate investor. We have a mentality in our organization that we're here to build communities. Our organization was established to ensure innovation in organizations. We continuously innovate in our company. Our organization is around and we're here because we're partners with the people that we work for. We do seek the truth in every situation. And last but not least, we do the right thing. So if you've been listening to this, I hope you've gained some information. I hope you've gained some clarity. If you want to continue to follow the things that we're doing, learn more about the Red Maples organization, all you got to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel. Whenever a new video pops up, they will notify you. You can also follow me on Facebook. Hit the like button on my profile. You can also do it on the Red Maples profile. And then lastly, make sure that you share the content that we have here. If this is something that's important to you, when you share the content to others, that not only helps strengthen the brand for Red Maples, but it helps strengthen your organization. And here's why. Because our organization is principled. And the first and foremost thing that we have is we want to help you build a bigger organization for yourself. And so if you'd like to build a bigger organization, you'd like to have more success, make sure you use your core values to have success in your organization. And if you'd like to know how to establish or structure those core values in your organization, again, you can reach out to me. I'd be happy to have the conversation with you. Even if you decide not to work with Red Maples, we still take a partnership approach to help you achieve your goals. So I appreciate you guys tuning in and listening today, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week and month. Have a good afternoon. Bye, guys.